In many parts of the world, one time every year, the days start to get shorter. The nights start to get cooler.
We should have us a little cabin out here so we could sit by the fire and look at this beautiful scene and be warm.
Vacations end. Regiments begin. Jackets and blankets emerge from their hiding places. Leaves depart from trees. It's getting dark already? I'm not ready!
Now, for the other side of the roof, I must go to use titanium white. Snow's on it.
No, Bob. No snow. Too soon. In fact, you know what? I'm wiped. Can we do this tomorrow night? I got a big bravery test first period, band practice after lunch, so I gotta get my trombone lubed and iron my clip-on tie. Then I gotta meet with my guidance counselor about that supposed tantrum I had on the dessert line yesterday. Then study hall, glee club, dodgeball right after school. Never mind a mountain of homework.
Mountains are one of the most fun and educational things to paint, because it'll teach you how to make friends with this old knife.
Not tonight, Bob. I think I'm just gonna lay down and fall asleep doing what I do best. Listening to Bob Ross. And Bob Ross related content.
Let's begin moving forward. I think today we'll use I'll take some bright red. What the heck? Be brave. He's the laziest little devil. Watch him go. He just climbs up sometime. I have an old towel here, and he just climbed up in it and sort of made himself at home and kicked back.
Bob, I want to have a happy dream tonight. What's the best way to have happy dreams?
I just sort of sit down and make up little stories. And it helps to be a little crazy, so that gives me a sort of an advantage.
Make up little stories.
Make up little stories. But isn't he cute? And after he goes to sleep, you can literally just pick him up. Look at that. Looks like he's at the beach, doesn't he? Kick back there and getting a few rays. But that's how lazy that little rascal is after he gets his tummy filled. I think he's just one of the most precious little creatures I've ever had.
Huh? 7:45? Damn you, snooze button! I'm gonna be late for school! Let's see. Keys, knapsack, pencil case, Pop-Tart, bag lunch, trapper keeper, protractor. Yeah, that's everything. Too late to catch the bus. Think I'll take a shortcut. You gotta love podcast travel. And just in time. Okay, cue the music. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. In 3, 2, 1. This is Ron Scalzo reporting live from Brooklyn. I'm inside a Williamsburg classroom surrounded by kindergartners who are spreading joy and even more paint. Lots and lots of paint. Raymond is here, and Zoe is here. Sophie, Mir, Jadelyn, Yug, Maya, Rayvon, and Daniela. And oh look, there's Ethan, Samantha, and the rest. Today's mission? To paint a happy little home for Peapod.
My little squirrel friend Peapod needs a new home. He keeps dropping pepperoni in my hair. Say, ew.
This is Peapod, my little pocket squirrel. He's been with me for a long time. But isn't he precious?
What are we trying to make here? We're trying to make a house.
I'm trying to make a house.
What's the squirrel's name?
The squirrel's name is, I don't remember. Peapod.
I think you're right.
No, that's not me.
I was going to say it rhymes with peapod.
Rhyme with Peapod.
Oh, rascals love fresh corn. Tell you what, you could have a whole farm and feed these. I must have 15 or 20 of them that I've probably raised and turned loose that live around the house, and they expect me to continue to feed them. And old Bobby's a soft touch.
It all started with a blank canvas, presented and passed out by our teacher, Lauren Pantos.
We're gonna start on a big piece of paper. Do you want to see?
Oh my God.
The paper appears to be 18 by 24, but I guess when you're 6 years old, that's like the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yep. There's one big monster. Let's give him a friend. You know me.
And once their almighty papyrus has been secured, a whole lot of fun is about to happen. thanks to the almighty efforts of one man.
And I'm going to start with titanium white. Put some on the brush, and we have to make an almighty decision here. Where's our horizon line?
Horizon line.
And it's right where the sky comes down and it meets the ground.
And in this class, it's apparently normal to speak your mind and sing your words.
Wake up, queen.
But Lauren Pantos ain't a teacher for no good reason. She uses little phrases and musical bits to cue these outspoken whiz kids to quiet down and focus.
Bum, 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 bum. Sometimes as like a reward, like a little treat, if we had a great class and have a little time left over, is I will show them the compilation of Bob Ross peeling contact paper off of the canvases, because they're like, oh, it's so satisfying. I'm like, I know, it's so great. It's like, and it's just one after the other, and we're like, oh, it's so good.
But isn't that exciting when you pull that contact paper off and there it sits?
We'll use white to make happy little clouds that just float around and have fun all day. Ah.
And when Lauren calls upon her students, there's no lack of enthusiasm.
Raymond, what color should I paint the ground?
Green.
Yes, green.
Now then, let's have some fun. We'll put some dark green grass all around his foot. Begin bringing that all together, just using a 2-inch brush. Just begin laying in all kind of little grassy things.
Wake up, green. Wake up, green. Wake up,
Green goes in the bottom.
Some of these future stars are painting trees, others actual houses. I suppose in Bob Ross's world, squirrels could live in both.
What are you doing now?
Flowers.
You putting some flowers in?
So we can live in there.
Sure, flowers work too.
If you want flowers, I'll bring my partner Annette back. Maybe you've seen one of her flowers she did once before. Why, Rascal can paint some flowers.
I, at some point, realized that it doesn't have to do with how old you are and what your age is. It has to do with how hard you work and how much you want it. There's the whole Bob Ross quote, talent is a pursued interest, and that was definitely my story.
It's your world, and you can put a big tree wherever you want it. Wherever you want it. Or you can put a little tree. Up to you. Or even a tiny little tree. Whatever. You can put a lot of trees in your world.
I wanted this. I wanted to be good at it. It was interesting to me. And while I tried many things, and I'm thinking about high school now, I tried many different things. Like I had my hand at music for a while, guitar and piano, but it didn't feel the same as making artwork.
Lauren Pantos has been making artwork since childhood. She's been an art teacher for over a decade now. Her painting hustle in high school led to a pursuit in art education at SUNY New Paltz and a master's degree in studio art. And a few years ago, she got another degree of sorts.
Bob Ross came into my life when I was very little.
I think painting should be fun and it should be easy. And then if you wanna pursue art, you can get into those hard forms. But this is a good way to start out and just enjoy.
I can see myself right now in we called it the rec room in the house I grew up in, and had this blue carpet and we had this ugly brown couch. And that's where I would watch TV when I was allowed to watch TV. And this is back in the day when you couldn't turn the TV on and see what was on every channel. Like, internet did not exist. And I would use my clicker, my remote, and I could press up or down. I'd flip through and Bob Ross would be there, and that would end my journey. I knew that that's where the TV was going to land and it was going to stay.
Painting can change your life. It can change everybody's life. I get letters every day from people who have discovered the show. Maybe they were sick for a few days, or they were injured and they happened to be laying at home and flipping the channels, and they come upon the show and they sort of get captivated by it.
I loved it. I loved watching just a whole world get created in front of me.
Just let your imagination take you to worlds that exist only in your mind, but you can put them on canvas.
On top of that, he's talking about like, it's so easy, right? And so I'm like, well, if I can do that, I can do that.
You can do that. Can do anything.
You know, when I became a CRI is really the first time that I started painting this way. And it was
It was awesome. It felt like, and I see this happen now as a CRI teaching other people, where I see people being like, wow, I always wanted to do this. Like I would watch him and I always wanted to do this. And now I'm actually doing it. Like that's a lot of the classes that I teach outside of here to adults. I see that happening with them. And I think that's really cool.
It's inside this classroom that Lauren has taken the biggest steps towards getting certified and mastering Bob's wet-on-wet technique. Not always by picking up a paintbrush.
I had over here on this board used to be a Bob Ross quote of the week, and I'd change it every week. So I was just kind of sitting down making a list of good quotes for my students. And I stumbled upon Become a Bob Ross Certified Instructor, and I did not believe that that was real. I was like, no way. Like, that's that guy that I used to watch as a kid. You know, like, there's no way that this is still a thing today. I just refuse to believe it. So I called the number thinking it would be a scam, and Ada Hankins picked up. And I asked, I was like, and she's so cute. She's like, you know, hello? And I was like, hi, is this real? And she was like, oh, yeah, this is a real thing. And I was like, okay. Tell me more.
So let's go and just have some fun. Show you how fantastic this can be.
I printed out the info and brought it in to my principals. And I was like, hey, there's this thing that I'm really interested in and I want to do. And I remember Mike just looking at me and being like, you need to do this. And I was like, I know.
When we're hiring, we're looking for good people. You could tell Lauren really knew what she was doing in terms of art instruction. And on top of that, she was just a terrific person.
Believe it or not, this is the first time I've ever been sent to the principal's office. But Mike Ferrara, or Principal Mike as he's better known around these parts, isn't here to lecture me. He's here to tell me why he sent Lauren Pantos to New Smyrna Beach to get her Bob Ross certification.
You know, teaching can be a difficult job in a lot of ways, and these paint nights that she has created for the staff have a lot of purposes. There's the actual art instruction, which is really cool. Like when I did Lauren's art class, I was fascinated by the techniques. I'm very proud of what I made. But more than the art techniques is the kind of collaboration and camaraderie that comes from these events. And it really brings the whole staff together. It is really a special thing that Lauren has brought to the school.
Principal Mike isn't your average principal. In fact, he's co-principal here at Charter School 2, along with his wife, Yvette. Their son goes here. Principal Mike also plays drums in the school band, alongside the kids. And of course, like a proper leader, he agreed to have Lauren teach him to paint like Bob Ross. As the principal, did you feel like more pressure to kick ass with the painting surrounded by teachers? Like, principal's got to, make the best mountains because he's the principal.
You know, I wouldn't say I needed to be the best, but I couldn't humiliate myself either, And one of the cool things is this has become such a tradition here at the school. So Lauren has some folks here who have done all the seasons.
When we are introduced at the beginning of the year, that is one of her little details that she shares, the love that she has for Bob Ross and his art.
And did you say, who's this cuckoo? Or were you like, oh, Bob Ross, I love him too?
Oh, I love him too. Yes, I knew exactly who she was talking about, and then just remembered growing up watching it.
That's Valeska Torres, one of Lauren's co-workers and after-school Bob Ross students. So have you done it more than once?
Yes, I have maybe 7 times, I believe. More than, yes.
7 times?
Yeah.
So I guess you like it then.
I love it.
Isn't that a fantastic way, though, to make a little distant mountain? Works easy. You can do this. The biggest thing to remember is apply absolutely no pressure. No pressure.
Beyond the technical, have you learned anything from this experience?
Just to take it easy. Take everything. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
just
take
that's
it
why
easy in general. Things are going to happen how they're going to happen in life, in painting and life. And then it's just just go with the flow.
Through doing that for other people, I'm doing it for myself. It truly is. It's like when I'm effectively watching somebody let go and relax because of what I've said or what I've shown them, I'm like, Oh yeah, I get to do that too.
And painting should be relaxing. It should take you to a world where there's no worries, there's no hassles.
Valeska's just one of the folks who regularly sign up to paint like Bob with Lauren after the kiddos skedaddle. In fact, it feels like Lauren has painted with everyone at this school.
You know, we spend all day telling our kids that they can do this and empowering them, and then the second we're in the student position, we are so nervous.
I was not follow directions correctly, and Lauren would just come over and be like, just do this. And it would look like it was supposed to. It was amazing.
It was like unbelievable how the directions that she gave, and then you just follow them exactly. It was like, oh my God, now I have a mountain. So I think we can appreciate it even more from our profession because it's so important for what we do, and it was nice to experience it as an adult and kind of remember like, oh, we can learn as adults as well.
It feels good, and I think the unifying factor of it is that everybody's learning. Even me.
And we'll just put that in, using little crisscross strokes or little X's, whatever you want to call them. As I mentioned earlier, that's the way the teacher used to grade my paper when I was in school. You just go through it and go X, 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 X. That's how I learned to do this.
A lot of times when we're grown up, we stop pursuing new hobbies, or if you try something new and you're meeting with some frustration, you're like, well, forget this, I'm not gonna do this, you know? But to be able to just get through that and realize that like, okay, the mistakes don't matter, it's more the process, has been really liberating.
That little tree doesn't give up, but maybe he grows up and he's got all kinds of little crooks and bends and hurts in him. And that's what makes him interesting. Don't make all your trees just perfectly straight up and down. Let them bend and play and have fun.
Like, wow, I get this. The knife is working for me. Wow, the mountain came out great. Wow, look at this water. And there's sometimes I'm just having these visceral exhortations where I'm just like going, oh, yeah. And it's just really rewarding.
Every time we have a paint night and I repost or I post something on Instagram, every one of my friends is like, you painted that? Yeah. No way. How'd you do that?
They won't believe you done it. They'll think you went out and bought it.
And I love getting those messages being like, yeah, I did paint that. And like, no one believes it.
You know, being able to walk around the school and walk into different classrooms and see their little paintings around. There's one or two in just about every classroom. And so it does start to make it feel like part of the culture of our school. I say it, the kids say it, admin says it. Like, we all talk about Bob Ross because of this.
Maybe down in here, there's a few more. There, and there. There and here, and just everywhere.
It's like a common language we share now.
Mistakes are happy accidents. You make a mistake, we're going to fix it, we're going to work around it, right? And that kind of ethos that then becomes part of the school culture and part of the school mindset and mentality is really powerful.
Class is over. The cacophony of a building full of young people replaced by quiet. Lauren Pantos is exhausted. At long last, she hangs up her smock and takes a seat. When she picks up the microphone to talk, I noticed a bracelet on her wrist. It says, "No mistakes."
I like being able to give, if nothing else, that to kids.
So can you say no mistakes?
No mistakes.
If you make a mistake, don't get angry about it. Look at your mistake. I believe sincerely that you can learn as much from mistakes, if not more, than you do from successes.
What I see happening with adults is that there's such a fear of making mistakes. There's such a fear of failure. What I want is to be able to normalize failure.
And it's not a failure if you learn from it. It's not a failure. It's only a failure if you don't learn anything from it. Then it's a failure.
I was kind of fly on the wall for the fourth grade class. Right before you had them paint their trees, I heard, like, when they were watching Bob do it, they're like, what? I heard a couple kids go, what?
It's so good.
As a CRI, Lauren finds she has to offer the same encouragement to first-time landscape painters that she does to a lot of her kids.
So many times I've seen grown men and women walk through my door and it's like they're racked with anxiety. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Mine's not going to be good. I've never done this. I'm just here. I'm not even going to. And I'm like, no, you're all going to be fine.
Anybody can paint. There are no big secrets to it. We give them all to you here. Give you all the secrets.
It's personally really satisfying and gratifying and empowering to be able to help somebody through that. and to have them leave afterwards and feel excited and proud and wanting to come back. And, dare I say, relaxed.
Like a lot of CRIs, Lauren had a lot of things on her plate. Getting her Bob Ross certification felt like more of a lark, at least at first.
When I was in my CRI classes, there were certain times where Nick would be like, okay, gather around, we're just gonna chat. And it's cute because he would sit on his chair and we would all kind of sit around him.
Right. Stories by the campfire time.
Yeah. He would talk about the business end of being a CRI. And I honestly would kind of zone out because I was like, oh, that's not what I'm doing with this. I'm not going to do that. I'm just doing this because I think it's cool or weird or why wouldn't I do this, But I had no intention of actually doing anything with it at that time.
And then one day, the phone rang.
Dorothy called me and said she's from PBS in Buffalo and that they really wanted to do a Bob Ross paint night. They had found me on the database and would I be interested in doing it? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, actually, I would.
Come, paint along with Bob Ross and Certified Ross Instructor Lauren Pantos, who will guide us through recreating Bob's painting, Mighty Mountain Lake.
During the pandemic, Lauren hosts a bunch of paint nights for public television station WNED from her kitchen. Remember that adult anxiety she was talking about earlier?
The first one or two of those that I did, I was so nervous. It was crippling anxiety, oh my God, I'm gonna paint in front of people and I don't even know and I'm gonna have to talk the whole time.
Maybe in our world there lives. Are you brave? This is your bravery test for today. There it lives. Yep, you guessed it. Big old tree lives right there. But he's a happy tree, so it's all right.
Working or doing the PBS paint nights was probably what really got me practiced to the point where I felt really sure of myself to be able to do this.
Lauren's been teaching art here for more than 7 years now. Her classroom is thick with Bob Ross tchotchkes. She's got a stuffed squirrel on hand to use as a prop during story time. And her certificates hang proudly above her desk at the front of the room.
We're having parent-teacher conferences tomorrow, actually. And so I do like to refer to these.
Right. I'm sure you get some people who are like, oh, Bob Ross.
Yeah, plenty.
I get so many letters from young people all across the country that are painting. And painting has opened whole new worlds to them. And it's so wonderful to hear from people. My gosh, some of them 3, 4, 5 years old. Their parents write and tell me that children have taken an interest in it and they watch the show and they paint.
When the first grade class ends, we all line up outside to go wash our hands. Careful to not touch anything. But hey, we can still talk.
What's your favorite color?
What's my favorite color? Phthalo blue. You like blue? What's your favorite color?
Red and golden and silver, rose gold, and that's it.
You have a lot. Oh, we gotta go. Come on. I don't want to get in trouble.
Pink too.
You like pink?
Yes.
And before we part ways, I get a few reviews about how this all went. Did you enjoy the painting class?
Yes.
What about you?
I would do it.
You'd paint again like Bob Ross?
Mm-hmm.
What did you like the most about it?
All of it.
All of it? There wasn't one part that was your favorite?
All of it.
What about you? What about colors? What's your favorite color?
Red, blue, and I have a lot more.
You have a lot of favorite colors. Everybody has a lot of favorites. Who says Bob Ross isn't for the young people? Not this guy. And thanks to passionate educators like Lauren Pantos, Principal Mike, a new generation of little creatures is being turned on to the big man. And some bigger creatures, too. Yeah, can you smell it? That's no gas leak. It's joy. Can you feel it in the air, in the hallways, the cafeteria, heck, maybe even in the janitor's closet and detention? Well, maybe not detention. We learned a lot during our day with Lauren Pantos. That joy conquers fear, anxiety, self-doubt. Joy bonds us. It fills us up. It could be with confidence, relief, or even forgiveness. Joy isn't just an emotion. It's an educational tool to be used not just inside this classroom, but outside, in your world, too.
Thank you, Bob Ross!
I can't believe what's happening And I feel so fortunate that this show has got so many young people interested in art. I know some of them are going to be fantastic. And whether you do it for a living or for pleasure, as I've said so many times, art is one of those things that should make you happy. And if it makes you happy, then it's good.
Find out more about Lauren and sign up for a class at makehappylittlepaintings.com. The old clock in the classroom tells me we've got another finished podcast episode. I want to thank my guests, Lauren Pantos, Mike Ferrara, and the staff and the students at Beginning with Children Charter School 2 in Brooklyn.
I have a song.
Go ahead.
It's called
You're on the air.
It's
going out all over the world right now. Okay, let me hear it. We can't use this for copyright reasons. Walt Disney will sue us. This is just for me.
This happy little episode was produced with help from James Shapiro at Jansen Media and mixed by Digital Sound and Video of Daytona Beach, Florida. Support your local public television station. Say thanks for giving us Bob Ross and the joy of painting. We want to see your paintings. Please use hashtag #PaintLikeBobRoss. Bob Ross certified instructors are the only ones that know how to teach you Bob's world-famous painting method. Don't settle for second best. Find a local CRI at bobross.com and then click Take a Class. Got your own Bob Ross story to tell? Leave us a message at 866-FANBRUSH or email us at podcast@bobross.com. And you can follow us on Facebook at The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. I'm Ron Scalzo. The Joy of Bob Ross is written and produced by me, Ron Scalzo, in partnership with Bob Ross, Inc. Bob Ross name and images are registered trademarks of Bob Ross, Inc.